I'm Allie Holt. I teach a ECSC FCC classroom in Round Rock ISD, and this is my classroom. When you walk in, you'll see cubbies where all the kiddos put their stuff. It's all labeled with their picture and their name, so we can start learning that identification. Over on the wall, you'll see some visuals of some instructional practices that we use, some ABA strategies that are taught within our program that we can go back and refer to if we need. Obviously PECS, which is a big part of ECSE and learning how to request. We also have kind of our home station for our PECS books, as well as any other type of device or modality that they would use would kind of hang here, and they know to come to this space to get it, as well as jackets, of course. When you come in and unpack, you'll notice there's visuals vertically set up to where they can follow these while they're unpacking, since there are multiple steps throughout that process. So they're placed strategically around the cubbies. And then they have their picture schedule. All of our kiddos usually sit on this one board, but I have differentiated this if they need more space, or if we need to have kiddos who are less distracted by all of this, we will move them. Or I've also made traveling schedules as well. But they come and check their schedule. All of our areas for the most part are color coordinated, so we have matching colors, unless we have a like a action specific activity like snack, they match to another snack picture. When you walk in, you'll see their carts. This holds their program books, all of their specific programs for IT, where we use the VB map for our direction as far as their verbal behavior protocol that we're using. So this travels with them to purple over there, but I'll walk you this way. This is our red station. This is NET, so Natural Environment Teaching. At this level in ECSE, we're working on learning how to mand for the most part. We're working a lot on highly reinforcing items and teaching them appropriate ways to get those items, as well as, you know, when we get further into manding and we're building that repertoire, we'll start working on turn taking and play, and how to play appropriately with certain things, how to tolerate play around us from other people, how to play non-preferred things when we just want to play with the car. So we do a lot of that. So you'll see a variety of toys. Everything is up high for the most part. Some things that we can't stick up there are down, but we'll either have them turned around, which they kind of know that means you need to ask for them, or we have it covered to where they can't see what's behind it. So everything has to be out of reach, so they have to ask for it some way. And it gives us an idea of what they want prior to them asking, so we can then prompt them in the appropriate way to get what they want. So we do a 15-minute rotation in here every day. Speech also enters this space and comes to us for speech. So it just adds an additional person, which is excellent for when we're doing PECS, certain phases where we need two people, or any of those just highly prompted new skills that we need an extra person for. Speech helps with that in this station. On to our circle time. We do circle time once a day. Some classes, probably in older grades, do it more than once. With ECSE, we do it once a day. It's also a 15-minute rotation. We don't really go past 15 minutes for anything with this grade level. So what we do is, I have a visual schedule here of everything that happens at circle time. I use an iPad for a lot of aided communication as far as circle time goes. I have Proloquo on the iPad. I'll wear it around my neck, and it allows me to sit, roll, and move to the kids, and I can have them either prompt them to touch certain things, or I can have aided communication for them to be able to receptively understand more and start learning that discrimination of pictures. We do a who's here, so we can start learning our name and our picture, similar to the cubbies, where they come up. We have a lot of song involved with circle time. We do a little bit of calendar, a little bit of pre-academic stuff, but we don't hit super hard on those things, more so just exposure. A lot of imitation happens at circle time, following group directives, learning how to sit is a big part of my classroom. And then we also have a bunch of sensory items back here, specifically put here for circle time, because this is when we need it a lot, because it's a lot of sitting. So we have pressure vests, we have weighted blankets, we have little fidget things to sit on. headphones, lots of things that are easily accessible. If we need a promise reinforcer in front of us, we have some of those. So lots of items there. We have a video down, but I'll show you all. This is also a large scoreboard that I use throughout the classroom, mostly for our word of the week, but we use it mostly for the aided communication aspect. The kids aren't accessing this necessarily, but I'm using it to pull and to show them different language outside of just those that fringe vocabulary. So there's that. On to our next area in purple. This is where we do IT, and this is where the carts come into play. So this is a one-on-one station. All of our stations are basically one-on-one, unless the kiddo is ready for a larger ratio. But for the most part, especially in initial skills, it's one-on-one in our classroom. So the teacher sits here. We have a smaller desk to accommodate our little tiny 3-year-olds, or possibly our really tiny 5-year-olds, just depending. So they'll sit here and we'll sit across from them. We'll pull their cart over, and their program is all designed in here. We have their VB-MAP graph from the beginning of the year, so we can access this, and then their weekly probe sheet along with all of their operants for the week, or that we're working on for their skills tracking sheet. Sorry, so here's a skill tracking sheet for LR. So we have the date that it's introduced, the date that it's mastered, and all of the targets that he's working on. And then these things are then put into our card set, which is in here. So we have the target pictures, target cards, known pictures, known cards. So through our IT session, we're working on our targets. We're probing them out on our probe sheet. And then we're also revisiting our knowns, and we are trying to disperse those really equally within. So we're gathering some momentum while we're working through our knowns, and then we're putting in those targets in order to learn those new skills. Obviously, we have a lot of edible reinforcements in ECSE. These little guys are awesome to keep all of our treats in. You can have multiple things that's easy to access, so we keep these around. Lots of toys that we can access for reinforcement, and then we have a lot of manipulatives that we use throughout our targets, because a lot of our kiddos are still on objects at this stage. This is kind of a visual to help us through our 4-card sort, especially my paras and paras that are newer need this visual more to be able to understand just how to keep the cards organized when we put them out. So that's there. Even for me, it's helpful lots of times. So that's that area. I also have a visual. This has been awesome for my paras. Just literally a task list of what to do when something is mastered, what to do. And these things happen not every day, but so it's not something they get tons and tons of practice on. So this allows them to have a quick reference. I also have things like this too, like the colors for all of our operants, some easy cooperation skills. These are all things that were given to me during our initial training that I just chose to put up to have as visual reminders for us adults as well. Go ahead. Yes, this is our reinforcement list for our kiddos. So for us to come up and immediately have, if we want to see what Alex wants to work for, we have a list right there. And this happened from a preference assessment that we did at the beginning of the year. Obviously it changes occasionally, but that's why I put multiple things on each one. So we have lots of different things to try and give them choice for prior to starting the skill. So yeah. The next station is green. And this is where our ULS comes into play, a unique learning system. Even in the preschool age group, we have access to that. And so we do a ULS lesson, or we will do some sort of fine motor craft. At this age, it is really, the kids really love it. It allows us to practice seasons. It allows us to expose them to different holidays, and just lots of opening glue, cutting with scissors, coloring with markers, lots of practice of that. I also have some of our activities don't last very long, so another visual of what we can work on after the craft is finished. So these are kind of the things that each of our kiddos is also needing to focus on. Some of them through OT goals, some of them just we don't like to have our hands held when we're cutting with adapted scissors, so we're going to practice that more. Or snipping, or some of our guys are more higher level in their handwriting skills, so they can do handwriting without tears, so that's on there. So lots of visuals so I'm kind of taken out of the equation, and I can teach, and my paras can work with the kiddos without needing to ask me. So we have a lot of OT stuff here, a lot of things that they work on, picking up things with some adapted tweezers. We've got putty. So all things OT happen here, fine motor, and then that integrated curriculum of ULS happens here. Blue is kind of my station that kind of was manifested from how do I keep everything one-on-one when I have 4 kids in a rotation. So it can involve the computer. It often involves the iPad, which is also a relevant skill when you're thinking about our kids at this day and age. A lot of them don't know how to access it. Now there are those kids that don't need to access it because we will start having issues with letting it go. So we have different options here. We also just have some fidgets and things that they can play with. So whatever adult is in green is also in charge of blue. So this allows everything to stay one-on-one. And with that, even if we need to pull the kiddo over to join this session, or we've had 2 kids at green and 1 kid at blue, it really allows the structure of the space really allows them to kind of learn how to work independently, and then us still have our hands for our one-on-one friend. Let's see, we do have a reading station. This was more, I wanted to keep the room really easily visually flowing, so everyone kind of sees a path of where they're supposed to go. So this area really holds that space for me. But obviously books are important, and we have a little rocker, little sensory engagement they can use there. Another big part is our gross motor. My friends might be coming soon. A little gross motor area over here. We've got an egg chair, we've got a jump trampoline. This is a ball pit. It looks like a random box, but there are balls inside. So we just used a big old box. I can usually get about 2 years out of these boxes, so that's good. Sit and spin, bean bags, lots of big fine motor or gross motor stuff. Hi. And they have a visual here of things they can choose to do on the gross motor area. So if they do come over here in this space during centers, or when we're having, we have some extra free time, they have a choice board that they can have that structure for. At this table right now, you'll see libraries getting set up. This is kind of a catch-all table. We have snack here. We have centers here, which our centers look a little different. It's not necessarily them moving to centers. It's more an array of games and toys that they can access. And those are all right here. So right here, like what I love about this space is it's close enough together where we're learning to tolerate other friends around our really fun toy that we have to kind of share space with. It also allows them, because they're 3 and 4 and not great at staying at one space for a long time, they can access other things, but we're working on demand while we're sitting there. We're in close enough proximity where all of us can kind of work together in that. So these are all of our options for that area. And then you'll see a lot of just, again, data sheets. We keep them in the classroom based on category, location of where the data would be taken. So random was because I didn't have a better word. So this is all of our data that are our objectives that don't really fit on any of my other data sheets. So this is kind of everything a catch-all. I have following directions. Task completion is one of my categories. Bathroom is right here, which just works in structure of when we come out of the bathroom, we come here. So they're able to take data here. Behind the screen over there, there's a group one, which is strategically by the group area of circle time. And then I have my play data sheets over on the wall where play occurs, and my transition by the door, because that's where we transition into the circle time. So everything's really strategically placed, so we, 1, will take data, and 2, find it easily. There's my friends. Snacks are in here. These are our take-home things. This is our manding data that we have. I have a variety of ways to there's our friends to collect it. I've got PEX data as well as a manding sheet that I created that I've gone through 5 or 6 different forms of, but it works really well for us. Yeah, I think